Hi, and welcome back. So a short video on the spheres and grasping, grokking, illusion, and appearance. There are two spheres. You are what is being the two spheres. One sphere is like a lens. An analogy would be a magnifying lens, in the sense that things aren't magnified, and when you look through a magnifying lens, it very much seems like things are magnified. So you might imagine if you'd been looking through a magnifying lens this whole time or your entire life and didn't know it, that would be where the analogy ends and maybe the actuality begins. Things aren't as they seem through the lens. So one sphere is a lens. The other sphere is a world. The world, lens, these are just words that point. So you could just as much say world or universe or creation or that there is somewhere. But again, these two spheres are what you're being. It's how it is that there's experience. It's one appearing as two. So to speak, through the lens, it seems like they're finite things. And thoughts arise that you are a finite thing. You aren't a finite thing. The thoughts are. Thoughts appear. Thoughts are an appearance. The experience of thought is of one appearing at a time, so to speak, and then disappearing. It seems like there are separate things or finite things because there are thoughts. And thoughts seem like separate or finite things. But check direct experience. Notice for yourself. Awareness is aware of one thought at a time. And to whatever degree thoughts are appearing, all day, every day, clearly thoughts appear and disappear. Further even, that there could never be the experience of two thoughts experienced simultaneously, or again, so to speak, at the same time, because the infinite one is one and is what is being thoughts. When thoughts which you are being are believed, it is believed you are a separate self, a finite thing which was born and dies. Again, thoughts are appearance, just as the spheres are appearance, vibrational appearance. You vibrationally appearing as the spheres. Infinite being, one. The singularity. There's countless words that point to what, of course, is ineffable, because it's what's appearing as the thoughts and the words. One appearing as two. Two spheres. This might be, I just want to kind of interject this. While it sort of sounds pompous to even say this might be one of those videos that you get a lot more out of watching it more than once. As far as this is what's being said sinking in or what have you. But therein, in you appearing as two spheres, which we could loosely say are that there is somewhere and that there is some way. This is the most fundamental key to all healing, to all clarity, to your peace of mind, your well-being, to all possibility of peace on earth, to communion in togetherness and supportiveness, cooperative relationships, as opposed to believing thoughts and believing in separatism and continuing to experience all of the conflict and suffering that creates. The separate self isn't a self, but is thoughts. The believing of thoughts, quote, about yourself, creates the illusion you are the separate self that the thoughts are about. Thoughts arise, and thoughts are thoughts. There is no thinker. Thoughts aren't thunk. There isn't anyone to think thoughts. Thoughts appear and disappear. You are awareness. Awareness is vibrationally appearing as what I'm pointing to with the word creation, or the two spheres. Awareness is being creation. Awareness is aware of the experience. Awareness is, and we could say, is being. Thoughts are of creation. Thoughts are creation. You, awareness, by vibrationally appearing as the two spheres, are appearing as what I'm calling thoughts. So maybe thoughts that come to mind, okay, but how do I get enlightened? How do I wake up? How do I snap out of the illusion? First, consider you are absolutely innocent. Don't reach for a knowing of this, and don't settle for a thought that arises that I don't know this, or I don't know this yet. Just open-mindedly consider it. You are absolutely innocent. Absolute, by that I mean it cannot be changed. It will never change. It's not anything that appears and disappears. It doesn't come and go. Your innocence is absolute, regardless of experience. You. Not any experience you, awareness, are identified with. Not any thoughts that you're identified with. Not any personality that you are identified with. Just you are eternally, perfectly, absolutely innocent. Now consider words like reality and creation are literally synonymous with innocence. All that there is, or if you will, everything there is made of the innocence that you are. I might be asking a lot in terms of consideration and open-mindedness, but if thoughts arise to the contrary, all I can do is kind of implore you to let them go and sort of return, if you will, to open-mindedness and just consider that. And notice those were thoughts arising about a you getting enlightened, or a you which wakes up, or awakening for you. That you is the illusion of believing thoughts. This can be a touchy video communication subject, and that might be initially deflected and projected onto Phil. Thoughts may very well arise and be believed that Phil is a thinker, and this is just what Phil thinks. To the extent that just it's some crazy guy that believes in spheres, and it's wacky and it's nuts. Prior to any thoughts, what's being said resonates or it doesn't. Thoughts can kind of obscure that, which is prior to thoughts, that feeling of discord and alignment. So to speak, look for that, feel for that. If I saw this video in the past at some point, hopefully I would have watched it a few times, because the first time it would seem very crazy to me as well. Awareness believes it is the body because it is effortlessly, spontaneously moving. Check this in your direct experience. Do this. Wiggle your fingers. And just notice that there was no experience of any mechanics taking place. No mental instructions traveled from a brain to a nervous system, like move the left hand 3 degrees counterclockwise, apply 1 pound of pressure to the index finger, etc. Notice there truly is no causation. There isn't a cause and effect. No mechanics happen whatsoever in this. Pure magic. Awareness does not readily recognize it's the world, because the world doesn't wiggle like the fingers. Awareness innocently identifies with the body-mind, so to speak, and not the world it is being, not the whole of experience. Loosely speaking, the result of, and there's no causation, but the result of the effect of what experience is, or the 2 spheres. The world is not an illusion per se. The world is an appearance. Unless it is believed there is a you and a separate thing, the world, then that is experiencing an illusion or believing thoughts. Similar to believing the woman in the box actually gets cut in half by the magician. There is not any appearance of her getting cut in half. Her getting cut in half only transpires in thoughts. It's an illusion contingent on believing the thoughts. Knowing is of the world. Knowing is an appearance. Believing knowing, as in, well, I know this, or I know that, or I know I'm like this, or I know I'm like that, is believing thoughts. Believing thoughts about there being a separate self, a knower. Knower is a thought. Known is a thought. The only, so to speak, thing, which is what's commonly called the experience of being stuck or stuckness, is believing something is known. There's the experience of thoughts arising, and whatever thoughts arise, interpreted in the sense that you know, or what you know, are thoughts being believed. And this is the fundamental aspect of illusion. Is, you could say that there isn't a knower and a known. There's just the illusion of believing thoughts that are appearing, and thus believing that there's a knower and a known, that I am the knower and I know things, and these things that I know are the known. There's no knower in perception. There is no known in perception. There's no knower in feeling. There's no known in feeling. Because knower and known are thoughts that appear, if at all. Perception, just this, simply this, experience, creation, vibrational appearance. Perception is love vibrationally appearing. Thoughts are the vibrational appearance of unconditional love. So to speak, a thought cannot turn around and define that which is appearing as thoughts, any more than a raindrop could define the ocean. So, on a last note, how does illusion veil the joy of every moment, or of the moment, of the now, of the joy of life? Often when somebody says, it's just a thought, when somebody says that phrase, it's just a thought, it's just another thought, that can be triggering. There can be an experience of triggering, a reactionary experience, and it can be easily vilified by deeming it to be vilifying, or vilifying of thought. The triggering occurs because one is making it as an experience or life about thoughts, and does not realize one is doing so due to believing one knows. Another way to put that maybe is the triggering or the reactionary projecting that the phrase "it really is just a thought" is like demonizing thought or vilifying thought, or saying that thought is bad or something, or saying it's separate, isolating it in any way and saying thought is separate. What's being triggered is the thoughts that are believed, or the knower and the known. The separate self is only an illusion of believing thoughts. Most simply put, perhaps, of knowing stuff. To cling to thoughts is to cling to the illusion that you are separate. To believe thoughts about yourself is to believe that you are separate. Not believing thoughts, perception, these are synonyms. Experience, creation, vibrational appearance remains. This is this, whether there is the experience of thoughts or the experience of believing thoughts. You could bring the thought to mind: a horse, a house, clouds, the sky, dirt, water, and notice this is this. The thoughts are appearing. This is still this. Having said all that, maybe the simplest words which can point would be: thoughts are appearing. Believing thoughts is illusory. So here's just a thought. See this in direct experience. In a pointing sense, I'll say in your direct experience, but also in the world at large, or your creation, the creation that you're being. There are terrible things happening in the world. By terrible, I don't quite mean to judge it or isolate it or say it's separate. I really just mean people harming people. Why is that? Awareness is under the spell of believing thoughts, living through the veil of illusion. Awareness would never harm awareness. Love would never harm love. This is common sense. As above, so below. As awareness, when you are believing thoughts about yourself that don't feel good, thoughts about yourself, that is the thoughts which are the illusion or which constitute the separate self. There is no separate self, there's just thoughts about there being a separate self. And that is suffering. Fundamentally, that's suffering. And again, awareness would never harm awareness. Love would never harm love. Infinite cannot know finite. What appears to forget, forgets by appearing. Forgets its own infinitude. Forgets that it is appearing. Forgets that it's being. Forgets that it's being all that is. You are infinity. You're what's appearing as reality, including thoughts. Thoughts aren't separate. Thoughts appear, reality is an appearance. All vibrational appearance. You forget that you are because you are. Only you can let thoughts go freely. Thoughts about harming, thoughts about yourself which don't resonate. Of course, I want to say only you can do this, but that would be taking it too far. Letting a thought about harming anyone go, and or letting a discordant thought about yourself go, isn't a doing. Doer is a thought like knower.